I had a really nice conversation yesterday with someone that I do business coaching with, and we were talking about the topic of deciding what path or what route within the online marketing space that they should go down. And I started by asking a really stupid question where I don't actually believe in the values behind this question. And I said to them, why don't you do something you love or something that you enjoy within that space? And they began to talk about, some of the different things that they loved within that industry. And I look back at my own career and everything that I've done over the last number of years. I've been involved in property. I've been involved in online marketing. I was in SEO. I've done social media marketing. I've done web design. There's been so many different things that I've done. And honestly, I never did any of them because I actually had a love for the industry that I was in. I think what's really important for, I suppose, anyone to understand is that you only love things in your life that you associate pleasure with, and you will effectively do things in your life to avoid pain and gain pleasure. So when people have an inherent love, like me, you're an entrepreneur and you absolutely love business, it's usually because you've got an underlying motivation somewhere, something that's maybe happened when you were younger or whatever, that's causing you to be very driven in that area. And some people mistake that for having some kind of love for the industry. Like, who loves property? Who loves the oil and gas industry? Who loves the insurance business? Like, I don't think there's really anyone that for some reason has this deep core underlying passion to love something. I think what we love is the outcomes and the results very often that our businesses produce. Now, I'm not trying to be a pessimist here, and I'm not trying to say that you can't enjoy what you're doing, but the reason I enjoy SEO, the reason I enjoy property, the reason I enjoy all these things I do is because I love what I get out of these things, the challenge that it gives me on a day-to-day basis against my competition, the ability to work with other people and help them in business, and the status that it gives me when I get success. The different results of actually doing these things is what I love, and that's why I now associate that love back with the thing I've been originally doing. Now, the reason I wanted to create this video is because there's so many people I speak to all the time which are, starting out, they're trying to get into business. That's like 99% of people. And they're trying to pick that initial thing to start with. And because of a lot of the crap out there, the business people that talk, who love their thing because they're probably very successful and they do love the thing that they do now because they're successful. There's a lot of people who are starting out who aren't in that position and don't actually have that love for something. And they might wonder why they don't love something. Am I in a bad place, or am I not thinking about this right? Well, chances are, if you don't love something, it's probably just because you've not found that love yet. And I think you have to be asking yourself different questions than looking at, what type of business I want to enter, what kind of market I want to enter. You have to start asking questions around what your core life goals are outside of that, and then how you can use an industry or something to help you get there. So in this video, I want to give you a little bit of a strategy for how you can go ahead and do this yourself so that you're kind of creating the right goals and following down the right path and not being blinded by the love for a specific market or industry. I want to also add as well that it's very, very easy to look at what others are doing and think that that's the right thing for you. But very often when I talk about this in a second, you'll realize that perhaps your underlying goals and your life values and the things that you really, really want out of starting a business doesn't actually match up with that person's, and maybe it won't match up with that. It could change. Maybe it will match up with that person's in the future, but you've got to work out what is best for you and then take all these industries, take all these ideas and pick something that fits in well with that. So here's a strategy for how to do it. So one thing that I've got extreme value of is this thing called the 6 Human Needs from Tony Robbins, okay? And there's so many different websites and articles out there, but I'm not going to dive into them all here. But what this basically talks about is 6 human needs. It talks about 6 very deep characteristics that pretty much all humans desire, okay? And within this, you need to kind of have a look at these and actually, think for a second. So the question you can really ask yourself is, what are the top 2 things for yourself, or the top 3 things that really stand out as the most important things? And then you can go into detail in each one. And what I'll do is I'll tell you what mine are and how I go into detail and how this actually helps me construct the goals and know if I'm working in the right thing in the right industry. So for example, my 2 biggest things is significance and growth, okay? I'm a very high growth oriented person. I love to learn new things, probably higher than most people. So I need to constantly be developing myself and growing in some kind of way. Okay. And if I go into detail on that point, what I realize is that I need to be doing different things. I can't be doing the same thing and growing in the same thing. So when I'm working in a business, I need to be doing lots of different things within that business, and I'm very good in a startup environment. I'm not as good in a business where I'm trying to grow it long term, because that's usually a lot more churn and burn long term. So for growth, I've got detail on what that is in business. And in significance, I feel unique, important. I like people to recognize that, my staff, I like other people to recognize that. That's important to me. So that's why, for example, I produce YouTube videos like this. Like, I don't produce these to make money. I do this to provide value to other people, because I get recognition for that. And it's nice to feel that. So when I'm deciding to work in property, for example, I'm looking at myself and I'm asking myself questions. Okay, does that thing allow me, okay, to grow exponentially? Is the market big enough where I could grow for a very, very long time, 5-10 years? Am I going to get excited about that? Can I get significance from that? Can I talk about that? Are other people going to be interested in that thing? And am I going to be able to get the significance I'm looking for? And I go into very, very, very large amounts of detail. I build plans for the next year to really get clear on this stuff, because when you pick something and you go with it to start and you pick that industry, you really have to make sure it lines up with your values, because my values have changed. If I go back a couple of years ago, certainty was actually very high on my list, okay? All I wanted was 5 or 10 grand a month so that I could live securely and have the freedom to be able to travel, okay? When I got that, it was actually about changing the goals. The things that became important changed significantly. So I had to change the types of businesses and the types of things I was doing on a day-to-day basis to fit in with that. So doing small-minded businesses or things that are very, very small markets, very small potential, does not excite me. No matter how much money you would throw at me to do something like that, if it's small-minded and it's just a certain thing and it's nice and easy, that's why I'll probably never be able to get a job. Like, if it's very small-minded and I don't feel I'm getting that exponential growth personally, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to enjoy that, feel motivated by that thing. So that's why I like to look it back, and I like to ask myself the right questions. Go a step further back than thinking just about the industry you're going into, and think about, what is it I'm looking to do with my life, and can I pick something in this industry? Can I do something maybe in this space that fits that goal? And I think that's ultimately, the best way to make these goals. And it's not about doing what you love. You'll love it when you're doing something that fits in with your core values, and on a day-to-day basis, you're growing yourself into becoming a better person based on what you value, right? And not just picking some industry that you just inherently love for no magical reason other than nothing. So I hope that you got value out of this video. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, and please subscribe if you haven't already. I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Peace.